Now, I'll try to explain to you what I have in mind. Now, first of all, in my career, you have to understand, I have talked to big investors, small investors. I have talked to academics, senior academics, less senior academics. I have talked to top bankers, less top bankers. I have talked to central bankers, to government people, and try, with different things which I had discovered, try to convince them, please change. Completely hopeless. And it is impossible. I mean, many of them are very polite, say, yes, you're right, but nothing happens. Now, also, and to raise a serious issue, I mean, if we look back 100 years, what has happened in the world? I mean, if this would happen when you drive a car, the driver would have long lost his permit to ever drive a car again. I mean, society as a whole has derailed to an extent that we would have all lost our driving license. Now, what does it mean? Please change how we drive society. And, to be clear, I want to fight a very aggressive game. So, if someone tells me, oh Richard, your strategy is risky. Of course it is risky. Let's embrace risk, but not foolish. That is, be intelligent, shrewd, playful, understand when there is an obstacle. Oops, we might take another route. So be very flexible and be very ingenious. So I clearly want to change how social structure works. And that is what powers me. It's not just to earn money. We have to earn money and be more profitable than any other company to be strong. But that's not the objective. So what's also important is we have to do it in a way that we're always fair to each other. If you have worked hard, a fair deal. But always, realize we're on a tough journey. So now I'll try to explain a little more the strategy. So first you have heard the objective is to build one global marketplace. And I have to explain why. We have seen over the last 25 years that something which was inconceivable before, there is today a global internet where through Airbnb I can rent a house here in Montenegro or in China or in Africa, boom, one platform. Wouldn't it be great if we had one global marketplace where an asset in China can be swapped directly for an asset from Alaska, or an asset from Russia to an asset in Switzerland. So create one global marketplace. Now, you have to realize that this is not just software. You have written more than 1.1 million lines of code, but it's also regulatory wrapper, marketing, customer support, business development. I mean, this is a hugely complex thing which we have to create to make this all possible. Now, I have to explain why is it so important to build this marketplace. Because if you think about the world, there are basically, if you think about society, there are two regulatory mechanisms in place. One is political procedures like democracy, and the other is market mechanics. But now, market mechanics, as they have been historically implemented, are completely dysfunctional. And I could explain to you why, etc. What I want to first focus on is to create the perfect marketplace. And now, very much like with engineering, perfect marketplace is not that we say it's perfect, it's that we actually try to understand how the mechanics works, and if for any reason the mechanics doesn't quite work, we try to adjust it a bit. So it's a real engineering discipline. And now, the marketplace, why is it so important, and why do you think we have a chance? So, thanks to blockchain, we will see a global development to digitize assets. That is, assets, financial claims, etc. are recorded on blockchain, not just Bitcoin blockchain, other blockchains. And what people don't realize is, and are fully aware, that if you digitize an asset, I mean, why are you doing it? Because you might want to swap the asset. And when you want to swap, you give an asset to him and get his asset. You want to do this at a fair market price. So key is for this market to develop is a digitization of assets, and on top a fair marketplace to do. So first, I think it's very important when we have such an ambitious project that we have to think, how do we want to do it? One of the important things is I want to do everything open source. And you say, Richard, why do you want to do open source? Isn't it so nice to have your own thing here? For various reasons. First of all, if we plan to do a global marketplace, this is a high risk for society as a whole, because we may do very poor work. And the only way how we can prevent that is to make it very open, and if for any reason this organization is not as friendly and as polite and as kind as it should be, someone can take the code and set up another marketplace, do it the real way. So we have to do everything open source. And the nice thing is, if we do everything open source, then we don't need management to check how the work has been done, because it's everything transparent. If the quality deteriorates, someone will eventually say, what have you put into GitHub? So it cleans itself. The second thing, which is very important, is it will be so easy to network. Because we all know this principle of 6 degrees of proximity. If we're open and enable people to connect, it's very easy for people to link up to Lykke and its infrastructure. So it really leverages the network effect. Now, this open source includes all the algorithms. And I can tell you, I've spent a huge amount of money trying to build these models. But it's important to share, because if we share, then we get people from around the world who kind of contribute. And this brings me to the other principle, is I want the company to be completely crowd-based. That is, we do competitions, and with the competitions, we source people who we've never heard of. Because now, I'm sorry, how would we have ever met? For example, if you think of Andre, or you, Shakur, how could I ever have discovered you in Tehran? Impossible. And this is stellar. So you made my day yesterday, Misha, that you say, now I understand why the competition platform is so great. So I want to use the competition platform to really kind of be able to reach out, and we already now notice, if you look at the incoming feedback which we're getting, how could we handle this with the traditional corporate structure, with a boss who then has to hire people, headhunters around the world? It doesn't work. So let's structure things as competitions, get people who we don't know to take over. Now, just to explain the business and not to make things too long, we have a core business that we have to build. That is, build a marketplace where the whole infrastructure, everything is for free. And then you say, Richard, but how are you paying the bill here? We will create investment strategies which provide liquidity on this marketplace. So we have algo traders, which when you want to sell your asset, buys your asset, and when you want to buy that, we'll sell it to you. So it's strategies which contribute to liquidity, which our own money can be invested in, or we create investment products where other people can invest money, and we earn the performance fee. So everything that we do, and I have lots of ideas of what we should offer for free, will be free of charge. We earn money by providing liquidity. So you have to understand that everything that we offer is part of our marketing spend. It's, we create the place here, People come, and when they come, we can provide liquidity. That's the business model. But now, there is a second business which is also very important. It's because we're developing all this open source software, and the world is big. Wouldn't it be great to enable the people who are there to rewire with our infrastructure? So this is why we want to do the big projects. We want to go into the large banks and say, look, banks, you have lots of opportunities, but you have to rewire. Take our software. So we have two sets of business. One is our own running the market, providing liquidity, earning money ourselves. And the second is the whole project business. And you know, anyone who has ever run our organization knows, oops, Richard, this is very hard to manage, because project business has a very different nature. It's very, you know, kind of highly structured. You have to service people. But when you run a real-time system, you have to run responses, you know, kind of very different. And to manage all this crowd-based, open platform way of doing things. Now, Lena asked me to say, you have to say something about the values of, this was the original title. So, what I want to encourage every one of us is, let's create a human company. Just, you know, we're all human beings, you know, normal guys. You know, we have to sleep, we have to eat. You know, life becomes terrible if it's too serious, so let's laugh. So, look, it should just be a normal company. Let's have it fun and be open and embracing, and also, you know, have this openness for the unexpected. The people whom you would have never, you know, recognized as being presenting, you know, themselves, not having true expertise, you don't know. So let's be open. So, I mean, there are lots of things to discuss. So, at least from my point of view, you might want to ask, what is the immediate next strategy? So, you're all aware we're doing this ICO. And I have to say, just where we stand with the ICO is a tremendous success. An absolutely tremendous success. Because when we first got out, people said, oh, you know, this is very expensive, and please look, and like this. And first there were only 100, you know, people who had downloaded and oops, like this, but some money came in. In the meantime, oops, we're getting very good responses. And now I have to say, it will be exciting if the 1.5 million will be sold out. Now, we don't need the money. So it doesn't matter if it doesn't come in. It's really not. I wanted to launch the ICO when we don't need it. So that we can sit back and just see. It will just be fun to see if it works or not. Already now, we have learned such a lot from how we do it, that I'm very confident. And why am I confident? Because today I know that as we expand, when we really need capital, we can raise it with the ICO, with an ICO. So for us, it's important to be regulated around the world, because like the internet, when you access the internet, you have to go through an internet access provider. And the same thing is when people want to trade on our exchange, they have to access us, and you have local jurisdictions which are different. And the first thing which will happen, that people will in certain jurisdictions say you're not allowed to go to Lykke, and obviously we know why. They will say no, and because maybe someone else prefers to have his own market. So the only way to get around it is we need to be locally regulated. So I want to speed up the process to get locally regulated. We already now, thanks to your efforts, are applying the FCA, we're applying in Cyprus, we're applying in Switzerland, we're getting a payments license from Liechtenstein, but I want to speed up to get the same licenses from the US, Japan, Australia. We have to expand very fast.